ஆழ்வார் திருவடிகளே சரணம், எம்பெருமானார் திருவடிகளே சரணம், பிள்ளைலோக்காச்சாரியார் திருவடிகளே சரணம், ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம், ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். We are seeing the meanings for Mumukshupadi Grantham. Pillai out of his great compassion, composed several Rahasya Granthams. Among those, Mumukshupadi is most celebrated because of the reason that it is the foundational Grantham which explains Rahasya Trayam in a very precise manner. Without any doubt, we can understand Tirumantram, Dvayamaha Mantram and Charmashlokam in a very elaborate way with the help of this Prabandham. Manavada Mamnigal has composed a beautiful Vyakhyanam, commentary for this Mumukshupadi. This commentary is known as Tirumantrartham. As the whole Rahasya Trayam is focused on Tirumantram. Tirumantram is the first and foremost mantram, Ashtaksharam. Dvayamaha Mantram and Charmashlokam are expansions, further elaboration of Tirumantram. Mumukshupadi is giving more details about Tirumantram, Dvayamaha Mantram and Charmashlokam, and Mamnigal's Vyakhyanam is going in depth into the sutrams, analyzing each word of Pillai Lokacharya and giving us great details about the sutrams. So with the help of Manavada Mamnigal's commentary, we are going through the meanings in English for this Mumukshupadi. So we have seen up to the 30th sutram in the last session. So after explaining the greatness of Tirumantram, Pillai Lokacharya explained what is the overall meaning of the Ashtaksharam, Tirumantram. He explained that the true nature of Jivatma and the result or the goal matching the Jivatma's true nature, both of them are explained in this Tirumantram. That is one viewpoint. The second viewpoint is the true nature, Upayam, that is the means to attain Bhagavan, and Phalam, that is the goal which is attained. All three are explained in Tirumantram. That is the another viewpoint. That is the second viewpoint. And after explaining that, Pillai Lokacharya explained that this Tirumantram has 3 words, 3 padams and 8 syllables, 8 aksharams. And then he further explained that the 3 words explain the 3 meanings. Those 3 meanings we have already seen: Sheshatvam, Paratantriyam and Kaikaryam. So these 3 are explained through these 3 words in the Tirumantram. Sheshatvam is being a servitor. That servitude is Sheshatvam. Paratantriyam is total dependence on Bhagavan. And Kaikaryam is the activity towards Bhagavan which brings happiness to Bhagavan. So these 3 were explained as the 3 meanings highlighted in the Tirumantram in the 3 words. Now we have to continue on from the 31st sutram. Mamnigal gives a very brief introduction. In many of these sutrams they are very small sutrams, so the introduction is also relatively crisp. So the question here is, what is the first word in the 3 words? So there are 3 words. What is the first word in those 3 words? That is the question, and for that Pillai Lokacharya explains, Idil Mudal Padam Pranavam. The first word is Pranavam. That is the 31st sutram. Idil Mudal Padam Pranavam. The first word in Tirumantram is Pranavam. Omkara. is Pranavam. So first he is establishing, Pillai is establishing that the first word in Tirumantram is Pranavam. Mamnigal gives a very short commentary. He explains from the Shruti, from the Vedam, Omityagre Vyaharet is what is explained in Shruti. And he is also quoting from Smriti, Pranavadhyam Namomadhyam Narayana Padantimam Mantram Ashtaksharam Vidyat Sarva Siddhikaram Nrunam. For men who pursue this Tirumantram, Ashtaksharam, all their desires will be fulfilled. And then this Smriti goes on to explain that this Tirumantram is made of Pranavam in the beginning, Namas in the middle, and Narayanaya in the end. And Upanishads, Vedam also says the same thing. Omityagre Vyaharet Namaiti Paschat Narayanayeti Uparishtat. So both Shruti and Smriti are saying the same thing. So when both Shruti and Smriti are saying the same thing, we have to take that as authority, and this is how this Ashtaksharam Tirumantram is to be recited, and this is how it is constructed. So that is 31st Sutram. Now 32nd Sutram, Mamnigal's introduction. Pillai sets out to explain the meaning of Pranavam. And he explains how this Pranavam has 3 syllables in it. And he is explaining that, saying, Idu A endrum, U endrum, Ma endrum, Moonru Thiruvaksharam. So that is the Sutram. So Mamnigal quotes the whole Sutram. In the introduction, usually if the Sutram is short, Mamnigal says the whole Sutram in the introduction also. If the Sutram is little bit longer, then you will say the first few words, saying, starting with these few words. So that is how Mamnigal introduces the particular Sutram in his introduction section. So 32nd Sutram, Idu A endrum, U endrum, Ma endrum, Moonru Thiruvaksharam. So he is saying that there are 3 syllables, divine syllables. It says Thiru Aksharam. Whenever there is Thiru added in any word, that means Thiru is equivalent to Shri. Usually when we say any word in our Sampradaya, we usually prefix it with Thiru in Tamil and Shri in Sanskritam. For example, when we go to Dividesham, Ayodhya, people say Shri Ayodhya, they don't just say Ayodhya. Similarly, in Tamil we say Thiru Ayodhyai. Same with Dwaraka, we say Thiru Dwarakai. And in Sanskritam, usually people say Shri Dwaraka. So here Aksharam is the syllable, and when we say Aksharam, we say, when Pillai says it, he says Thiru Aksharam. That means it's a divine syllable, divine letter. So this Tirumantram has 3 divine letters, A, U and Ma. So Mamnigal explains this Pranavam in Asamhita Karam, that is, there is Samhita Karam and Asamhita Karam. Samhita Karam means collection. Asamhita Karam means splitting them as individual parts. So in this Asamhita Karam, when we split the Pranavam, it becomes 3 letters. It becomes a 3-lettered word. And each of those 3 letters have their own meaning. So they can also be said as a word. So though they are Aksharam, they are also said as Padam. So though they are letter, they are also said as word. So they are 3 letters, but they are also 3 words, and they reveal 3 meanings in them. When it is said in Samhitakaram, that is, when we look at it in a collection, it will be Ekaksharam. Pranavam itself is 1 Aksharam. It will be 1 word, and it will have 1 meaning. That is, we have seen a little bit before that it is highlighting that Jivatma is a servitor to Bhagavan. That is the meaning which is simply provided in the Pranavam. It is Eka Shabdam, that is one word, Pranavam, and then it is also one letter. When we see it in Samhitakaram, it is just one word, one letter and one meaning. But when we see it in Asamhitakaram, it is three letters, and each of these letters, they are as good as a word. They are as good as individual words. So there will be three words and they will reveal three different meanings. Now that is 32nd Sutram. We will move on to 33rd Sutram. In the introduction, Mahamanigal says, now how these three letters, how they came about, how they originated, that is explained in the 33rd Sutram with an example. And Pillai explains this starting with Moondru Thaliyile. So the Sutram is a big Sutram. So Mahamanigal just says a couple of words from the Sutram and says, Moondru Thaliyile, starting with Moondru Thaliyile, Pillai is explaining the origin of these three letters, and he explains that with an example. Let us see the Sutram, 33rd Sutram. Moondru Thaliyile தயிரை நிறைத்து கடைந்து வெண்ணெய் திரட்டினார் போலே மூன்று வேதத்திலும் மூன்று அக்ஷரத்தையும் எடுத்தது. So in this Sutram, the simple meaning is, just as yogurt or curd is churned in three different pots, and from that butter is collected from all these three pots, and then it will be made as a big bundle of butter. Similarly, from the three Vedams, here Rig, Yajur, Sama are considered as three Vedams. From these three Vedams, three letters are extracted. That is A, U, Ma. These are extracted from three Vedams, and merging these three letters which are extracted from the three Vedams, the Pranavam is acquired. So that is the meaning, simple meaning for this 33rd Sutram. In the commentary, Mahamanigal brings out many references, many pramanams. Bhuriti Rigvedat Ajayata, Bhuvaiti Yajurvedat, Suvariti Samavedat, Tani Shukran Yapyatapat, Tepyopitapyas Trayo Varna Ajayanta, Akara Ukara Makara iti, Tane Gata Samabharat Tate Tatomiti. So here it is explained that from Rigvedam, Buhu word is extracted. From Yajurvedam, Buvaha is extracted. And from Samavedam, Suvaha is extracted. And from these three, further, Akara, Ukara, Makara are extracted. And by extracting these three letters, this Pranavam is made, and this Pranavam hence contains the essence of Vedam. So Shruti and Smruti both are saying the same thing. There is another Pramanam, Akarancha Pyukarancha Makarancha Prajapatihi Vedatrayan Nira Bruhat Burbuvas Swariti Iticha. So this same thing is explained in another Pramanam. Akaram, Ukaram, Makaram, they are extracted from Vedam through Buhu, Buvaha and Suvaha, these words. So these words are the origin from Vedam, and from there Akara, Ukara, Makara are extracted. So Buhu, Buvaha, Suvaha are the three Vyahritis. Vyahritis are the words which are very potent, and they are extracted from Vedam, the three Vedams, and Bhagavan, placing them in his Sankalpam, he extracts Akaram and Ukaram and Makaram from those three words, Buhu, Buha, Suvaha. And these three Aksharams, these three letters, they become one, and that is Pranavam. And this is explained similar to the example which is given. A person may have lots of milk. Now to extract butter from the milk, first the milk has to be boiled and then it has to be turned into yogurt or curd, and then the curd needs to be churned for a long time, and from the curd butter will be extracted, and finally all the butter will be gathered in a bundle. So maybe there was 5 liters of milk, finally we may get half a kilo of butter. So that's how it's extracted. Now that butter is the essence of the whole 5 liters milk. Similarly, this Pranavam, which is extracted from the three Vedams through the Vyahritis, that is Buhu, Buha and Suvaha, this Pranavam is the essence of Vedam. And that is explained in the next Sutram, 34th Sutram. Mamunigal gives an introduction. Now what is the purpose of taking Buhu, Buha and Suvaha from the three Vedams and extracting Akaram, Ukaram and Makaram from those three Vyahritis? The result of that, the purpose of that is explained in the next Sutram, that is 34th Sutram, starting with, or the Sutram itself is Agayal, it is Sakala Veda Saram. So that is 34th Sutram, Agayal. Idu Sakala Veda Saram. Thus, this Pranavam is Sakala Veda Saram. It is the essence of all Vedams because it has been extracted by churning the Vedams and extracting the essence of it. That is, Mamunigal's commentary, just as the three Aksharams, the three syllables, they are the essence of each Vedam, Rigvedam, Yajurvedam and Samavedam. When these three syllables are put together, that becomes the essence of all the Vedams. So that is explained in this Sutram. So this Pranavam, which is having three syllables, is the essence of all of Vedam. So that is 34th Sutram. So now Mamunigal gives a brief summary here for the Sutrams up to here. That is from 26th Sutram to 34th Sutram. He gives a small summary. So starting with 26th Sutram, Idudannil Solligira Artham, Swarupamum, Swarupanurupamana Prapyamum. So starting from there up to here, Pillai has explained the Vakyartha of the mantram. Vakyartha means holistic meaning of the whole sentence, of the whole Tirumantram. There is a simple meaning that is explained here. Then Akshara Sankhya. Akshara Sankhya means the count of Aksharams, the syllables. And then Pada Sankhya, how many Padams, words are there. And then the three Padams, the three words, reveal three meanings. And that is explained. And after that, what is the first word? That is explained. And that word, the first word, Pranavam, that itself will be again split into three letters. Based on Asamhitakaram, it will be divided into three letters. And after that, these three letters are the essence of the three Vedams, Rig, Yajur, Samavedam. This Akara, Makara, Akara, Ukara, Makara letters are essence of these three Vedams, and the Pranavam, which is a collection of these three syllables, that is the essence of all of Vedams. So up to this point, up to 34th Sutram, all of these are explained. Now we will move on to the 35th Sutram. Now let us see the 35th Sutram. Mamnigal gives a beautiful introduction for this Sutram. Here Mamnigal is saying that Pillai Lokacharya sets out to explain the meanings of the three aksharams, syllables in the pranavam, and first he is explaining the meaning for akara, starting the sutram with idil akaram. Let us see the sutram. Idil akaram sakala shabdattukkum karanamai நாராயண பதத்துக்கு சங்கிரகமாய் இருக்கையாலே சகல ஜகத்துக்கும் காரணமாய் சர்வ ரக்ஷகனான எம்பெருமானை சொல்லுகிறது. This is the sutram. Simple meaning for the sutram would be, as this akara is the origin for all the words, and as it is the short form for the word Narayana in the Ashtakshara in the end, it is indicating Bhagavan, who is the cause of all the worlds and who is the protector of all. So this is the simple meaning. We will see in detail with the help of Mamnigal's Vyakyanam. So first, there is the similarity between Akara and Narayana Shabdam, the word Narayana. Akara is the cause of all the words, and Narayana is the cause of all worlds. Akara is the short form for Narayana in Ashtaksharam. Narayana, Bhagavan, he is considered as the protector of all. There is also the dhatu, etymological meaning for Akara, which is avarakshane, which means to protect. Based on this relationship also, Akara represents Narayana. So this is the overall gist. Let us see the commentary of Mamnigal. Among the three aksharams, the three syllables in pranavam, the first syllable, which is akara, a, here is said as the root of all the words, whether it is Laukika words or Vaidika words. All of these words are originating from akara. Mamnigal explains how that is done. Namarupancha bhutanam krityanancha prapanjanam veda shabdebhya evadhau devadinam chakara saha. This akara is the first letter, which is the root for all of Vedam, words in all of the words in the Vedam, and all of the words which are existing in the world. So all the words in the world which are in use, they are from Vedam, and Vedam is starting with akara. There are also other pramanams, quotes. Pranavadyas tata vedaha, Omkara prabhava vedaha. So many places in Vedam itself, it is said that pranavam is the cause, root of Vedam, and it is also said that there is no other cause for pranavam. Tasya prakriti linasya. That is quoted again here by Mamnigal. So based on these, it is understood that Pranavam is the cause of all of Vedam. We've already seen that Pranavam is the essence of Vedam also. So there is an interrelationship between Vedam and Pranavam. Vedam is originating from Pranavam and essence of Pranavam also. There is also general statement saying Akaro vai sarvavak. Samasta shabda moolatvat akarasya svabhavatah. So all the words, all the sounds are based on akara or originating from akara. So this is one side, establishing that akara is the root of all words. And then there is also Bhagavan's nature, which is explained. Bhagavan being the Antaratma, Antaryami of all of the existence. And hence, being the Antaryami, he is the Sarva Rakshaka, he is the protector of all. And that is explained in the word Narayana. Narayana means one who is the abode of all and one who is the Antaryami of all. So because of these, Bhagavan is the cause. Yato va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti. In this pramanam also, it is said that Bhagavan is the one who creates, one who sustains, one who places everything in him during the deluge. Because of this, based on this pramanam also, we can understand that Bhagavan is the origin of everything. Sayeva srijyasya cha sargakarta sayeva patyati cha palyate cha. So he is the one who creates, he is the one who protects, he is the one who annihilates. Everything is Bhagavan. Everything is done by Bhagavan. So Bhagavan is the cause of all and he is the protector of all. So that is explained in the Narayana word, in the name Narayana. So Akara and Narayana are having exact same meaning. So because of this, we can say that Akara represents Narayana. There is also another explanation. The protectorship of Bhagavan, Sarva Rakshakatvam, is also indicated in the letter Akara. Because the etymological meaning for Akara, A, is avarakshane, that means to protect. So based on that, the natural meaning of the letter Akara, also we can understand that it is very much exactly related to Narayana Shabdam, the word Narayana. So in this Sutram, Mamanigal in the commentary establishes what is explained by Pillai Lokacharya, that just as Akara is the cause for all the words, and as it is the short form for Narayana, it is speaking about Narayana, who is the cause of all the worlds and who is the protector of all. That is 35th Sutram. Next, 36th Sutram, Mamanigal gives an introduction here saying, what is protection? Here it is said that Bhagavan is the Rakshaka. By the nature, he is the Rakshaka, he is the protector. So what is protection? That is the question here. And Pillai Lokacharya answers that question starting with Rakshikayavadu. Protection means, that is the starting portion. 36th Sutram, Rakshikayavadu Virodhiyai pokugayum apekshitattai kodukayum. Protection means granting, bestowing what is desirable for the individual and eliminating what is unfavorable for the individual. So the elimination of unfavorable aspect should happen first, and then giving favorable aspects should also be followed. So one who does these two is called Rakshaka, protector, and this particular activity is called Rakshakatvam. So that is the simple meaning. ரட்சிக்கையாவது விரோதியை போக்குகையும் அபேட்சிதத்தை கொடுக்கையும், to grant the desires and to stop the hurdles. That is what is protection. Mamnigal's commentary, that is rakshakatvam. Rakshakatvam will be based on anishta nivartakatva and ishta prapakatva. It will be in the form of eliminating the undesirable aspects and granting desirable aspects. And as it is in these two forms, this rakshakam or the protection are in two different forms, two different states. That is, one aspect is giving what is desired, another aspect is eliminating what is unfavorable. As it is in this manner, in these two forms, Bhagavan protecting the sentient beings means giving what they desire, that is the true desire, eliminating their attachment towards this samsara, this material world, and granting them eternal happiness, which is desired by them. So that is the two aspects of rakshakam. Rakshakam means eliminating the hurdles and giving what is desirable for them. Now the question in the next sutram, 37th sutram, is இவர்களுக்கு இவன் போக்கும் விரோதி ஏது? What is the hurdle for these entities and how do they get eliminated by Bhagavan? That is the question here. The answer is இவை இரண்டும் சேத்தன என்ற அளவுக்கு ஈடாய் இருக்கும் என்று. So Pilladokacharya explains in this quote, இவை இரண்டும், these two, that is ishta prapti, anishta nivrodi, that is eliminating the hurdles and granting the desirable, favorable aspects, will be, these two aspects will be according to each individual's state of mind. So it depends on the individuals. It is not a what they say as just one common approach for everyone. The ishta prapti and anishta nivritti, acquiring favorable aspects, eliminating, avoiding, removing unfavorable aspects, will be according to individuals. That is the short meaning, simple meaning of the 37th sutram. 37th sutram is இவை இரண்டும் சேத்தன நின்ற அளவுக்கு ஈடாய் இருக்கும். So in whatever state the individual Jivatma is there, for his state this ishta prapti and anishta nivritti will be present. That will be given by Bhagavan based on the stage of the individual, stage of the Atma, in what stage he is in, what nature he is in. 38th sutram, introduction. Mamnigal explains that Pilladokacharya explains it further in great detail, starting with samsarigalukku. So there is 38th sutram. Samsarigalukku virodi chatrupidadigal, apekshitam annapanadigal, mumukshukalukku virodi samsara sambandham, apekshitam பரமபத பிராப்தி, முக்தர்க்கும் நித்தியர்க்கும் விரோதி கைங்கரிய ஹானி, அபேட்சிதம் கைங்கரிய விருத்தி. So here Pilladokacharya explains who are all the different types of people and what are all the hurdles, what are all the favorable aspects and what are all the unfavorable aspects for these individual categories. So first, let us see the simple meaning. Samsarigalukku virodi shatrupidadigal. For samsaris means those who are fully attached to the body. They are fully just focusing on the body and they are worldly, they are always engaging in worldly activities and they are always gaining pleasure or pain through worldly activities. For such samsaris, what is anishta nivritti? That is virodi. Virodi means hurdle. Anishta nivritti means elimination of unfavorable aspects. What should be done? what is their hurdles? Chatru Pidadikal, enemies and sorrows. These are all the trouble for samsaris. And then what is desirable for them? Apekshitam, Annapanadigal, milk, food, beverages, all of these are desired by samsaris. They just survive by eating and sleeping and just without doing anything constructive, any progressive acts. So apekshitam annapanadikal, their desire is for food and water and drinks and all of that. Mumukshukalukku virodhi samsara sambandham. For the mumukshus, now there is the another category. Mumukshu means one who desires to reach moksham through an acharya. So for such mumukshus, virodhi is samsara sambandham. This connection with this material world itself is enemy. Apekshitam paramapada prapti. For him, what is desirable? Reaching paramapadam as soon as possible. That is the desirable aspect. Muktarkum nityarkum virodhi kainkarya hani. Apekshitam kainkarya vruddhi. For the muktas, muktatmas and nityatmas, what is the virodhi? Virodhi is any hurdle, any stop which happens in the kainkaryam. Whatever they want to whenever they want to serve, at that time, if there is a hurdle, then that is their virodhi. And what is their desire, what is the favorable aspect for them? Kainkarya vruddhi, that is this nurturing, this nourishing and growing of kainkaryams, more and more kainkaryams. That is what is desirable for them. So kainkarya hani is their virodhi. Whatever hurdles that come up is their virodhi, and whatever kainkaryams they get more and more, that is their desirable aspect. So those are the three different types of adhikaris and how the favorable and unfavorable aspects sit on these adhikaris, these categories of people. So for samsaris, virodhi, that is hurdle, is shatrupidadi. Apekshitam, that is desirable aspects, is food and water and all of that. For mumukshus, samsara sambandham, this connection with this material world itself is a hurdle for them, is a enemy for them, virodhi. And what is the parampadā, what is the desirable aspect? Parampadā prapti. They also want to reach parampadam. For muktas and nityas, the virodhi is hurdle in kainkaryam, and the desirable aspect is more and more kainkaryams. Now we may have one question. How is that muktas and nityas will have hurdle in kainkaryam? And that is explained in the end, but we will just have a quick glance on that particular topic. Bhagavan is so beautiful in Paramapadam. At times, even for nityas and muktas, there is a possibility that they will start liking Bhagavan's forms and Bhagavan's beauty and start thinking that, oh, this is very nice for me. So that concept of I and me could come in force for the muktas and nityas also. For that, Bhagavan is the one who stops from that hurdle coming into their mind. They should never think that it is for their enjoyment. It is for Bhagavan's enjoyment, and seeing Bhagavan's enjoyment we should enjoy. That is the only amount of enjoyment we should have. It is not to be considered as independent enjoyment. But sometimes Bhagavan's form is so beautiful, so great, that these atmas could get bewildered and start thinking that this is my individual greatness. For that, it is explained that such kainkarya hani, such hurdles should be eliminated. So that is 38th Sutram. So because Bhagavan is the one who sees the individual entities, and based on their qualities he gives their desirable aspects and he eliminates their undesirable aspects. Because of this, we can safely say, we can conclude that Bhagavan is Sarva Rakshaka. He is the protector of all. So that is 38th Sutram. Now 39th Sutram. In the 39th Sutram, Mamnigal explains in the introduction, if Ishvara, Bhagavan, is the one who is protecting, why is there are so many entities who are giving protection and care to us? For example, there is mother, there is father, there are devatas, other devatas. There are so many of them. There are kings, maybe there are rulers. They will provide us help. So, when there are so many to protect us, why is that? Pililokacharya explains specifically about Ishvara being the protector, Ishvara being the Rakshaka. For that, Pililokacharya himself explains in the next Sutram, 39th Sutram, Ishvarane ஒழிந்தவர்கள் ரக்ஷகர் அல்லர் என்னுமிடம் பிரபன்ன பரித்ராணத்திலே சொன்னோம். He is quoting his own Prabandham. Another Grandham written by Pililokacharya is Prapanna Paritranam. In this Prapanna Paritranam, Pililokacharya beautifully explains that all the devatas, they are all not means. Our wealth and our properties and our belongings, all of these are not real protection for us. Only Bhagavan is the real protection for us. So that is clearly established in Prapanna Paritranam, and that Prapanna Paritranam is quoted here in this Sutram. Ishvarane ஒழிந்தவர்கள் ரக்ஷகரல்லர் என்னுமிடம் பிரபன்ன பரித்ராணத்திலே சொன்னோம். That is 39th Sutram. So those who are other than Ishvara, who are other than Bhagavan, they are not our protectors. So Alvar So Pililokacharya here boldly declares that there is no one else who is protecting us. He is everyone is protected by Bhagavan only. In this Prapanna Paritranam, Pililokacharya beautifully explains how mother will not protect by showing the example of Kaikeyi, how father will not protect by showing the example of Hiranyakashipu, how brother will not protect by showing the example of Vali, and so on. So each of these entities, how wealth will not come to our rescue, how other devatas will not come to our rescue. So these are all explained in the Prapanna Paritranam. So Mamnigal explains in the commentary, Bhagavan, who is the natural relative for us, naturally connected with us, he is the one who is always being the Antaryami and protecting us. And because of this, we cannot consider the inferior devatas and the bandhus, the relatives who are always engaging us in lowly activities. So these devatas, these lowly devatas, inferior devatas and the worldly people, they are not Rakshakas, they are not protectors for all of us. And this is explained in detail in Prapanna Paritranam, says Pililokacharya. So we can see in that Prapanna Paritranam that Bhagavan is the sole protector for everyone. So that is 39th Shlokam. Now 40th Shlokam. ரட்சிக்கும் போது பிராட்டி சந்நிதி வேண்டுகையாலே இதிலே ஸ்ரீ சம்பந்தமும் அனுசந்தேயம். Let us see the introduction first. Now in this Tirumantram, in this Pranavam, there is no direct reference of Pirati. Every time we go to Bhagavan, we always take refuge from Bhagavan. Every time we go to Bhagavan to surrender unto him, to worship him, we should go through Pirati. That is the norm here. And that is what is explained in this particular Sutram. Mamnigal gives an introduction that this particular word or letter identifying Pirati's existence is not present in the Tirumantram explicitly. But even though it is not there directly, the connection with Sri Pirati, the togetherness of Bhagavan and Pirati are to be always thought about, and that is explained in this 40th Sutram. That is the gist of it, simple explanation of it. So whenever Bhagavan is going to protect, that should happen in front of Pirati. So that is how that Sri Sambandham is Anusandeyam. We should always think about Sri, the connection with Pirati to Bhagavan. Because of that only we are able to go to Bhagavan at any time. We need not fear that Bhagavan will be alone and he will reject us. So that is explained in the commentary also very nicely by Mamunigal. Let us see it. Lakshmiya saha Rishikesho Devya Karunya Rupaya Rakshaka Sarva Siddhante Vedante Picha Giyate. So all of the Vedam is explaining that Bhagavan protects along with his Pirati, and this Pirati Devya Karunya Rupaya Rakshaka Sarva Siddhante Vedante Pi. She is a very compassionate person, and out of her own compassion she recommends the individual souls who are coming to Bhagavan, and she recommends their case to Bhagavan and ensures that Bhagavan protects her, protects those individual Atmas, individual souls. So this is why Pirati's presence is very required in the protection, and because Pirati's presence is required, we have to implicitly see the presence of Sri Mahalakshmi in the Tirumantram also. Though it is not explicitly spelled out, it is implicitly present in it. Let us see how it is explained in the commentary of Mamunigal. Whenever Bhagavan accepts a surrendered person, at that time, if he looks at the offences, mistakes committed by the individual, his mercy may be stopped. He may think, oh, this person is a sinner, so I should only push him to hellish regions. I should not protect him. But because of presence of Pirati there, she will ensure that doesn't happen. She will say a few good words about the Atma. She will say that he has sung your glories. He has sung Alvar's Pasurams. He is very attached to Kainkaryam and so on. She will say some flowery words, even if that doesn't exist in the Atma. She will greatly present the Atma's case to Bhagavan, as a mother will do it for her child, and she will make sure that he accepts that proposal. So that making sure Bhagavan's kripai, the compassion, rises, that is ensured by Pirati. So her presence is avasyapekshitam. It is always required for both Jivatma and Paramatma. So while we are thinking about Bhagavan, while surrendering, we should also think about Pirati in the Purushakara role. She should be treated as the one who recommends us to Bhagavan. Now, instead of saying Lakshmi Sambandham Anusandeyam, here in the Sutram it is said that Sri Sambandhamam Anusandeyam. Now, why is the name Sri used? That is because the Dhatu of this word Sri explains two aspects. Shrayate iti Sri and Shriyate iti Shrihi. So there are two explanations based on the name Sri, that she is always worshipping Bhagavan. She is always being worshipped by Jivatmas. So both aspects are there. Because of that, this word Shri is used by Pillilokacharya. She is always worshipping Bhagavan and others are always worshipping her. And because of this interaction, finally the individual gets the benefit. And this is the reason why the word Sri Sambandham Anusandeyam is mentioned by Pillilokacharya. So in this sutram, Pillilokacharya says that while protecting, Pirati's presence is required and that should be meditated upon. So that is the 40th sutram. We will end with this today and we will continue on in the next session. We will have a session tomorrow also, but tomorrow we will have it at 2 to 3 in the afternoon. Okay. Alvar Emberumanar Jiyar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam. Jiyar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam.
To learn such valuable information about our Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, please download KOYIL, KOYIL app from Google Play Store or Apple App Store. Our website is koyil.org, KOYIL.org.